Children's well-being is the ultimate indicator of a strong society. For 20 years, UNICEF has worked with cities around the world to implement the Child Friendly Cities initiative. In partnership with the Government of South Australia, UNICEF has created a pilot initiative involving 3 communities: Campbelltown, Gawler and Onkaparinga.
The initiative's led by the Department for Education and Child Development, but it's a real partnership approach. So we're working in partnership with UNICEF Australia, Save the Children, Anglicare SA, the Delissa Chair in Early Childhood Research, and local government and communities.
A child-friendly city is one where children's rights and responsibilities are part of everyday life. It is about implementing the Convention on the Rights of the Child at a local level. The path to child-friendliness means a commitment to a long-term journey, a commitment to reach all children, and a commitment to the active participation of children and young people.
In South Australia, what we're trying to do, first of all, is help people to really understand what the Convention means and really understand children's rights, and supporting communities to actually embed children's rights as part of everyday life.
Child Friendly SA is also informed by the Leading Edge Children's Voices project, a partnership between the University of South Australia and the South Australian Department for Education and Child Development. Led by Professor Pauline Harris, Delissa Chair in Early Childhood Research, and Harry Manitakis, Principal Policy Advisor DECD, the project engaged 350 children to inform the government's strategic plan. The Children's Voices project ignited interest in and informed ways for authentically engaging with children to understand what is important to them in their communities.
Engaging with children's voices is part and parcel of children's rights. In 1989, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child affirmed the child's right to be consulted about decisions affecting their lives. This very clearly positions children as key informants about matters that impact on them, and it acknowledges children's wisdom and capacity to so engage.
For UNICEF Australia, partnering with the South Australian Government is about seeing how this successful global program can be adapted to the unique needs of Australian communities.
I have to commend the South Australian Government in a big way for actually being very progressive in this. It doesn't take a massive amount of investment. It just takes a shift in perspective and expertise, clearly, in being able to draw out of the children maybe not their first ideas, but their second and third ideas. To have that skill of listening is something I think that they have embraced very well indeed.
Based on the key principles underpinning children's rights, 6 community goals have been developed to improve outcomes for children and young people in the areas of active participation, safety, health, education, belonging, and play and leisure. A commitment towards child friendliness integrates children's rights at every level of local governance, including planning, policies and implementation. In a child-friendly city, all children are active agents. Their voices and opinions are sought, taken into consideration and influence the decision-making process that relate to their own lives.
It's a wonderful initiative from the point of view of planners and local government, in the sense that you get a perspective, a new perspective, a perspective of the actual users of the facilities and services being provided. And children have the most wonderful concept of their own environment and what they feel should happen. So you get a very valuable addition to the planning consultative process.
By ensuring that we understand what children, young people and their families really want in their communities, we can ensure better use of resources and more relevant use of resources. So whether it's building playgrounds or anything else that occurs in the community, by recognising children are part of the community and they make up 25% of our communities in South Australia, ensures that what is being planned and achieved really meets everyone's needs.
If we're going to improve what we're doing, if we're going to ensure that we are achieving, we need to make sure that those children and young people have a voice in the very decisions that are actually impacting upon their lives. So I think the onus is on us to be creating those spaces, those places, those mechanisms for those children and young people to be heard.
Because we are children, it's one thing for an adult to take a guess at what children want and need in a community, but for it to come straight from the child, it's not a guess, it's a definite what we want.
To see the excitement on the children's faces and almost the surprise that somebody else really was listening to them and really did ask them.
Becoming child-friendly means commitment to a continuous process of innovation, monitoring and improvement for councils. The Child Friendly Cities initiative is about recognising councils and community partners for their ongoing efforts toward achieving demonstrated impacts in the lives of children.
Being a child-friendly city to Campbelltown is very important because it enables us to make a public statement that we value children in our community. There's quite a rigorous evaluation process that needs to be undertaken to be a child-friendly city, and achieving recognition in that enabled us to confidently go out to our community and promote to our community that Campbelltown is a great place to raise children.
For council, it's really important to engage with children, as our core role is to work with the community, and we consider everyone who lives in the area to be residents and community members. It would be remiss not to see children in that important role.
Cities seeking recognition as child-friendly undertake a particular process. This involves establishing a steering group, building a community profile and baseline of evidence, and undertaking planning and performance workshops with community stakeholders, including children. Cities capture their efforts in a portfolio of evidence which tells their specific story of child-friendly practice.
The process really has evolved over time. Back in 2012, it involved the Children's Participation Pilot, which engaged children and young people from our local schools to be involved in giving their ideas and opinions about play spaces in the community. And that really was the turning point for us as a community. When we engaged stakeholders, we really had a considered approach around how we might do that. We wanted to ensure that those people in the community that were representing the interests of children and young people who are perhaps our most disadvantaged or disempowered were also involved in the process.
The Child Friendly Cities pilot employed the results-based accountability framework developed by Mark Friedman.
Results-based accountability is a framework for working with our communities. It's an approach which is outcomes focused. So you work out what it is that you want to change in a community and you use the framework to create that change. The role of Community Centres SA in the Child Friendly SA project has been to lead each of these three communities to apply population planning to the Child Friendly SA framework within the context of their own communities. So we have led each of these communities through the process of clearly defining what the condition of change is that they would like to see in their communities and how they can actually go about planning and delivering on that plan. In the Child Friendly Cities project, there are 6 outcome areas, and they're the 6 outcomes of the UNICEF Rights of the Child. And they are the focus for all of the work that we have done in our population planning.
Results-based accountability for us has been a fantastic framework to apply in this child-friendly cities context. Historically, we've measured, are people coming? How many sessions have we run? But results-based accountability gives us the impetus to start measuring when people come along to our programs, are they better off for that? Are we actually meeting the needs of our community and our children and our young people?
What I've taken from it the most is there was definitions in there of what words mean, common words, so that when we're talking to other people, we've all got the same understanding of what the words are.
The outcomes for children from this pilot project go much deeper than child-friendly recognition for their local council. Over 1,000 children have been involved in this project, and each take away an understanding of their role as valued members of their communities.
The benefits we've seen is staff have become more child focused. So when we're programming, we're thinking about children first of all.
There's been increased relationship and collaboration between services and organisations in regards to wanting to put activities on the ground that really meet the needs of children and are in a place and space that are child friendly, and that the children in many cases lead those activities.
I think it's great because the kids will actually see some of their ideas put into place, and so it's not just empty words, and that we have heard them and that we can do something for them, and they'll actually see it happening. And I think they'll come to learn that, yeah, hey, people do listen to us, and it is great, you know, because they're our citizens and they're our leaders for tomorrow.
The outcomes that we've seen in regard to activities are children that feel empowered, that have a voice and want to be a part of different things, and how they can have a voice in shaping and leading what happens in the future.
You are building the foundations here of citizenship, of community, of social cohesion.